All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be another upgrade with the Cl55 Amg. This one, obviously, you guys see a sway bar here. Now, in the previous videos, I did delete the whole ABC suspension from this CL, and by doing that, I put all the coilovers. And with this thing, with the sway bar, I'm gonna get more stability and the ride is gonna be a lot better. So this sway bar I picked up from a junkyard here local, and believe it or not, all the S500, which is the W220 chassis, underneath everything's exactly the same as the CLs. So by doing that, I just pulled off this thing off of a 2004, I believe, 2003 or 2004 W220 chassis, and the guy was nice enough to give me the end links that come with it as well. It's already attached. Bushings are there, they're in really good condition, and the bushing, the holders for the bushing, which get mounted right underneath the vehicle. And we're gonna go ahead and go underneath the vehicle too, and we'll see where those things go. I do need to change out the arms, the thrust arms that I did install earlier in the videos. You guys probably seen the video on that. Now, these thrust arms are, they're called, or the company that makes them are Fjorder. And you're gonna have to switch these out because of this piece right here, because this will be attached to the end links or the sway bar links. So again, the suspension is gonna go here, the coilovers end links are gonna go here, ball joint, and the frame attachment there. So you're gonna need both sides, driver and passenger side. And I went ahead and ordered both of those. Now, the other thing that I wanted to do was change out these bushings. But then again, when I asked the guy, I mean, the car that this came off of, I think only had about 48,000 or 50,000 miles. So, and they look pretty good. So later down the line, if I do need some new ones, I'll just go ahead and grab those. But that's it. I mean, let's get underneath this vehicle and let's see what parts I took off to make room for the sway bar. So alright, so before I get underneath this thing, I wanted to show you guys, to make room for the sway bar, you're going to have to remove these two hydraulic lines that run straight down underneath the car this way. And then this one, I showed you guys in the other video that it does go over the bell housing of the transmission, and that's attached to this leveling canister, I guess you could call it. And there's a couple of brackets that you have to take off as well. So these do have to come off, and eventually I'm going to take off all the other the hoses for the hydraulic system anyway. So this was very important for the sway bar, that these need to be taken out so you can make some room for the sway bar. Now let's get underneath this thing. Alright, so we're underneath the driver's side, and this is that arm that needs to be taken out. And a few months ago I did install this brand new, if you guys remember, and the ball joints, I changed them to brand new ball joints. But this thing needs to come out because we need that attachment here for the end link to go, the sway bar link. So shouldn't be that big of a deal. And those hoses I was telling you guys about ran right across here. So it went right here, and it went across, and it sat down right here where that ball-shaped hydraulic system balancer was. So this thing needs to be cleared out because this is where the sway bar is going to sit. And those pieces that I bought with the sway bar, they will go right here. These bolts will come off, and the sway bar bushing will sit right there. There's one there, and then there's one on this side. So you guys can see both of them, and the sway bar will sit right here, and the end links will go over across, and it will be attached right here at the arm. So the other two hoses that sat across, I detached them from here. There's a distribution box here for the oil, and if you guys can see, there's a little bit of oil still from the hydraulic hoses that are coming out, which is fine, shouldn't be a problem. But I did collect some of the oil that came out, and eventually, like I said, I'm going to take off all the hoses that are attached to the ABC system. So next step, we're gonna go ahead and take these off, put the new arms in, and then we're gonna put the sway bar in. Alright guys, so we're underneath the vehicle, and you guys can see the new arm is in, this thrust arm, or the lower control arm. And you guys can see closer, there goes that in link to the sway bar. I already kind of fitted the sway bar on there. I haven't tightened anything, so there goes the end of that link there. And this was the arm that was on there, and we used our little handy $15 Harbor Freight tool to get this piece off there. You're gonna need that. And here's the sway bar. Kind of mounted it loosely here, not that tight, so holes are already there. There goes that sway bar to the other side. Here's the passenger side, still loose. And there goes the other arm, already installed in place and ready for these end links to be tightened. If you guys remember in the other video, the earlier videos, when I put this other arm, the older arm, on, you do have to put this down, or put the whole vehicle down, have some weight on it, and then you have to torque it. Now this time what I did was I put the jack up with that big block there, put the jack up pretty high, and then I put the kind of like mimicking as the weight of the car on there, and then I went ahead and torqued, you know, these bolts, especially this one that needs to be torqued. So there goes that yellow speed racing coil over there. So next thing, I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these and then put some weight on it, or maybe even put the car down on some ramps, and then we can torque these. So, but the holes are right there, perfect space for these. Now, one thing I should say, the bolts that came with this, it did not fit. They were too thick, and these screws that were already here, I just used these, so hopefully it won't give me any problem, because they are a little bit skinnier than the other ones, than the ones that came with this. So I'm even thinking about putting a washer there too, but let's see how that goes. But I'm gonna go ahead and loosely, I guess you could say, tighten these and tighten these, but then to torque them, I'm gonna put some weight on, and we'll go from there and torque them. Alright guys, we got this thing done. Sway bar is installed. There goes that link there with that new arm. That's a sway bar going underneath. Tighten everything up, jacked up each wheel, and I torqued them. The end links need to be torqued to 130 Newton meters, I think. And there goes that sway bar sitting nice and tight. It was as if it was made for this car. Fits very nicely. So anybody's looking to do this, definitely recommended. And what other people had said or commented on before doing this, their ride has been a lot more stable, and they feel the tightness around the turns, or the like a sharp turn, so they feel comfortable making those turns with the sway bar in there. So one more upgrade in the CL, and I'm definitely going to be testing this out. So let's put the wheels back on and we'll take it for a drive. Alright guys, so I took this thing quite a few days for a few drives around the block, on the open road a little bit, nighttime driving, and I gotta say, I mean, I felt the stiffness, the drive was a lot better. I think it was more mental than physical, but I am going to take it on longer drives and a little bit faster drives, and maybe hit some hard turns and get those videos out for you guys. But all in all, I was pretty happy. I felt pretty good, and definitely recommend it for people who are doing the coilover conversion. Definitely do the sway bar. It's not going to cost you a lot of money, and you guys saw in the video, anybody can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So yeah, just one more thing, upgrading the Cl55 Amg. And you guys, anytime you see these cars, just pick them up. Try to get them as cheap as possible. They're going for pretty cheap, but just buy them. You will not be disappointed. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the support and all the comments and questions, everything that I get. I love it, and I hope I can be a little bit of help, you know, answering those things. So again, thanks again for everybody, and we'll see you guys in the next one.